My dear friends, in the journey of life, there comes a moment when the heart whispers louder than the noise around us, when the soul leans forward and says, "This is your time." But too often, instead of embracing it, we postpone our greatness. We wait, we hesitate, we say, "Maybe later." But tell me honestly, when is later? Let me ask you a simple question. If not now, when? If not you, who? The clock is ticking, not just on the wall, but in our lives. Every second you wait to start that dream, to mend that relationship, to chase that purpose, you're giving that second away to doubt. We weren't given this life to simply exist. We were gifted this life to live fully, love deeply, and serve meaningfully. And all of that begins not tomorrow, not next week, but now. Not when you're more confident, not when you have more money, not when others believe in you. Now, when you believe in yourself. Because here's a little truth: opportunity rarely knocks twice. And when it does knock, it doesn't wait long. Either we open the door with courage, or we watch it walk away. Your time is not coming, it's already here. The future doesn't begin tomorrow. The future is born in every choice you make today. And when you start acting like your time is now, the world starts treating you like you belong among the greats. Let's not die with our music still inside us. Let's not be the person who almost did, almost tried, almost became. Let's be the ones who showed up, stood tall, and started now. So today, make that decision. Not a perfect one, just a bold one. Because the truth is, your time is not ahead of you. Your time is now, Stop delaying your dreams or waiting for the right time. How many times have we told ourselves I'll begin tomorrow, or when I feel more prepared, I'll start. We keep pushing our desires into the foggy space of someday. But the truth is, someday is a seductive illusion that never comes. It's not marked on any calendar. It's not promised by any clock. And it's the most dangerous lie we tell ourselves. Because it feels safe, even responsible, while silently killing our potential. You see, waiting often feels wise. We tell ourselves we're planning, preparing, thinking things through. But there's a thin line between preparation and procrastination. And the longer we wait, the stronger the habit of hesitation becomes. Life isn't waiting for you to be ready. It's moving forward, moment by moment, with or without your action. Think of the dreams you once had, the ones that made your heart beat faster, the ones you thought of late at night. Where are they now? Did they vanish? Or have they just been buried under layers of excuses and fear? Every time we delay, those dreams fade a little more, not because they are impossible, but because we starve them of action. The only way to revive them is to stop waiting and start doing. Everything you desire, success, growth, impact, lives on the other side of the action you take today. Life opens its arms to those who move, not those who hesitate. You don't need all the answers. You don't need certainty. What you need is the willingness to start. Not with a perfect plan, but with a determined heart. Because no matter how small the first step is, it's always more powerful than standing still. In the present moment is the only guarantee you has it. Begin now, not tomorrow, not later. Now, the present moment demands courage, and courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move forward in spite of it. So many of us are waiting to feel brave before we act. We think that once the fear fades, once the anxiety disappears, then we'll finally take that leap. But real life doesn't work that way. The truth is, fear is always present when you're on the edge of something meaningful. It stands as a guardian between where you are and who you could become. And to move past it, you don't need to wait until it's gone. You simply need to choose courage. Courage doesn't scream. It often whispers. It's that small, quiet voice that says, try anyway. It shows up in the moments when you feel vulnerable, unprepared, or not good enough, yet still choose to speak, act, or begin. When you stop chasing comfort and start choosing courage, everything changes. Comfort zones are cozy, but they are also cages. They keep you safe, yes, but also small. Courage breaks those invisible walls and helps you step into the unknown, into a place where growth actually happens. Think of all the people who have done extraordinary things, not because they were fearless, but because they moved forward in spite of fear. They chose to show up, to speak up, to rise up. They didn't wait to be unafraid. They simply understood that courage is something you practice, not something you possess all at once. The more you act with courage, the stronger it becomes. It's like a muscle. You build it by using it. So the next time you feel afraid, remember this: that fear is often a sign you're heading in the right direction. It means you care. It means what you're about to do matters. Let that fear be fuel, not a force that freezes you. When you make decisions based on courage rather than comfort, you begin to rise above who you are and move toward who you're meant to be. How is to be let your courage meet the moment, because that moment is happening now and you won't get it back. There will never be a perfect time, perfect mood, or perfect situation. Perfection is one of the greatest myths that holds people back from starting something meaningful. We keep waiting for the stars to align, for all doubts to disappear, for life to become more stable, for motivation to strike like lightning. But life doesn't work on our ideal timeline. The truth is, conditions will never be flawless, and if we keep waiting for that perfect alignment, we might end up waiting forever. The desire for perfection often disguises itself as wisdom. We convince ourselves that we're being cautious, being smart, being thoughtful. But in reality, it's fear in a suit. It's fear pretending to be logic. And the longer we wait for perfection, the more we build a habit of postponing action. Every day we don't start because something isn't just right, we reinforce the lie that conditions must be ideal for progress to happen. But life's greatest achievements often emerge from messy, uncertain, imperfect beginnings. Think about people who started successful businesses, created beautiful art, began their healing, or built meaningful relationships. Most of them didn't have all the answers. They weren't fully prepared. They didn't feel completely ready. But they started anyway. They stumbled, they learned, they adjusted, and over time, things got better. Not because everything was perfect at the start, but because they moved. Action is what creates clarity, not overthinking. You learn the path by walking, not by standing still. Perfection is not a prerequisite to begin. You don't need all the money, the best resources, or the perfect plan. You just need the willingness to start. You can polish things along the way. Life favors those who are in motion, those who are willing to step into the arena, even if they're unsure of the outcome. That first step, even if clumsy or uncertain, holds more power than 1,000 perfectly planned ideas that never leave the paper. So don't let the illusion of a perfect moment trap you in inaction. You have what you need to begin. Not everything, but enough. The rest will come as you go. Conditions don't make things happen. Commitment does. And it's your commitment to act in imperfect conditions that turns ordinary moments into extraordinary breakthroughs. You don't need validation from others to begin. For 22 hours to be one of the greatest barriers to progress is waiting for someone else to approve of our dreams before we feel they are real or worth pursuing. We look around hoping someone will see our potential, cheer us on, give us permission. But the truth is, your journey is yours alone. Nobody will feel your passion the way you do. Nobody will carry your vision like you will. And if you keep waiting for others to believe in you before you believe in yourself, you might never take the first step. People will often doubt what they don't understand. Not because they're against you, but because they haven't seen what you've seen. They weren't present when that idea was born in your heart. They didn't feel the fire that kept you awake at night. And they don't carry your experiences, or your perspective, or your calling. That's why their approval should never be the foundation of your action. If you constantly depend on others to validate your decisions, you surrender your power. You become a passenger in your own life, navigating by the expectations and opinions of others. You have to trust yourself. Even when the world is silent, you have to be your own biggest believer, your own strongest supporter, your own voice of encouragement. Because belief doesn't begin with applause. It begins with silence. And in that silence, you must choose to back yourself, even if no one claps, even if no one understands, even if people laugh, dismiss, or ignore you. When you start showing belief in your own worth, your own ideas, and your own path, something powerful happens. The world begins to reflect that belief back at you. People start noticing your confidence. Opportunities begin to unfold. But that external response only comes after the internal decision. You have to walk first, and let the support catch up later. You have to take that first leap, not because someone said you could, but because you knew you should. You are already enough to begin, not because you've achieved everything but because your willingness to believe in yourself is the seed from which growth begins. And when that belief is rooted deeply within you, no criticism can shake it, and no praise will define it. You become grounded in something far stronger than public opinion. You become grounded in your own truth. Starting now might be risky, but not starting at all, that's a regret you'll carry quietly, sometimes for the rest of your life. You see, failure often gets a bad reputation. We're taught to avoid it, fear it, and treat it like the end of the road. But in reality, failure is just feedback. It's the world's way of showing you what didn't work. So you can learn, grow, adjust, and try again. On the other hand, regret is silent. It creeps in when you know you could have tried but didn't. When you look back and realize the door was open, but you chose not to walk through it. Regret is not born from trying and falling. It's born from never trying at all. It's born from self-doubt, from the voices that said, "You're not ready," or "What if you fail?" And later in life, those questions change. They turn into, "What if I had tried? What could I have become?" These aren't just questions. They become the echoes that follow you reminding you of the courage you didn't use when it mattered most. When you begin, yes, there is risk. You might fail. You might fall short. People might judge you but there's also possibility of growth, of success, of becoming someone stronger than you imagined. And even if you do fail, you'll gain something far more valuable than success experience. You'll learn who you are, what you're capable of, and how strong your spirit truly is. The pain of failure is temporary. It fades. You heal, you recover, you grow. But the pain of regret, it lingers. It stays tucked away in your heart, resurfacing in quiet moments, asking you why you didn't try when you had the chance. And here's the truth the cost of inaction is often far greater than the cost of failure. Because when you act, you have a chance to transform your reality. When you stay still, you only repeat it. Every great achievement, every breakthrough, every inspiring story you've heard started with a risk. Someone decided that the pain of potential regret was heavier than the sting of temporary failure. They chose to begin. And even if they failed 100 times they stood taller than those who never stepped forward. Your story deserves that same boldness So don't wait for certainty. Don't wait until every fear disappears. Start now. Not because you're guaranteed success, but because you're unwilling to live with the weight of never knowing what could have been. The time is the most precious asset you have, and unlike money, status, or possessions, once it's gone, it can never be earned back. Every second you're alive is a second closer to the end of your story. And none of us know when that ending will come. We often live as though we're promised decades more, as if we have unlimited tomorrows to chase our dreams, fix our relationships, or discover our purpose. But the reality is, we don't. Time moves with quiet certainty, whether we use it or not. Many people measure life in years, but life is actually lived in moments, in choices, in presence, and every moment we spend caught in fear, comparison, procrastination, or regret is a moment we hand over to the world without living it. We scroll endlessly, we wait endlessly, we complain endlessly. And all the while, time slips by silently, never asking for permission, never giving refunds. Think about how often we say things like, I'll do it next week, or I'll start when things calm down, or maybe next year. But next week isn't guaranteed. Next year might not come. The future is not some magical land where we suddenly become more motivated or courageous. The truth is, if you don't use your time wisely now, you likely won't later, because using time well is a habit, not a coincidence. And here's what makes time so tricky. You can't see the damage of wasted time immediately. When you waste money, you feel it. When you lose health, it shows. But wasted time, it accumulates quietly, showing up one day as regret when you realize you've grown older, but not bolder. It becomes that inner age that whispers, I thought I'd be further along by now. You must learn to respect time, not fearfully, but mindfully. Not with anxiety, but with awareness. Each day you're alive is not just a page in the calendar. It's a canvas. It's space to build something meaningful, create something beautiful, or take one more step toward who you truly want to be. The people who achieve greatness aren't necessarily the most talented or the most privileged. They're often the ones who respect time enough to use it intentionally. So don't treat time like it's disposable. Use it like the treasure it is. Use it to love, to grow, to serve, to heal. Let your days count. Because at the end of it all, you won't remember how many hours you worked or how long you waited. You'll remember what you did with the time you were given.
The direction of your life changes with a single choice. Often we underestimate the power of one decision. The kind made not in front of crowds or under spotlights, but in quiet moments when no one else is watching. These are the turning points. The moments that separate the life we live from the life we could live. Every big transformation begins with one small, intentional decision. Not a dramatic leap, but a firm step. Not perfection, but direction. The course of a river is shaped by the shift of the land. Similarly, the course of your life is shaped by the shifts in your decisions. The moment you decide to start something new, to let go of something harmful, to change a habit, to speak your truth, or to finally say yes to your dream, you are in that very instant rewriting your future. One new decision can end a cycle that's lasted years. One change in mindset can unlock a door that's been closed for decades. The beauty of decisions is that they're entirely within your control. You don't need permission. You don't need a perfect environment. All you need is clarity and the willingness to move. The problem is, many people never fully grasp how much power lies in choice. They believe life happens to them, but in reality, life often happens through them, through the choices they make repeatedly, even unconsciously. And the smallest decisions made consistently carry the greatest impact over time. For example, the decision to wake up 1 hour earlier to work on a goal. The decision to respond with patience instead of anger. The decision to believe in possibility rather than drown in doubt. These may seem like ordinary acts, But compounded over days and weeks, they create extraordinary outcomes. Your destiny doesn't unfold randomly, it follows the path you lay with your daily decisions. And sometimes the hardest decision is simply to begin. To stop standing at the edge of change and take the step forward. To stop asking for guarantees and start living with intention. Because indecision is also a decision. A decision to remain in place, to stay within your limits, to let life choose for you. You don't have to wait for the perfect moment to make a powerful decision. You create the moment when you decide. And the decision you make today, however small it may seem, might just be the seed of transformation that shapes the rest of your life. Every opportunity has a window, and that window doesn't stay open forever. Too often we assume that life will wait for us, that the chances we passed on will come back when we're more ready, more confident, more equipped. But opportunities are living things. They have energy, momentum, and timing. And they show up in your life. They're asking one simple question: will you act or will you hesitate? If you hesitate too long, the opportunity moves on. Not out of spite, but because it was meant to meet action, not delay. We often think that opportunities will patiently knock again and again, but sometimes they don't. Sometimes the door that opened today won't be there tomorrow. That call to begin a new project, to meet someone halfway, to chase that dream, to step up in your work or in your life, those chances are not on a loop. They are seasonal. Just like fruit ripens at the right time and then falls, opportunities come when conditions align. Miss the moment, and it may not return in the same way, at the same level, or with the same power. But here's the tricky part. Opportunities rarely arrive with clarity. They don't always come with loud music or flashing lights. Sometimes they arrive dressed as inconvenience, discomfort, or uncertainty. That's why many people miss them. They wait for something obvious, something easy, something comfortable. But growth doesn't come dressed that way. Growth often knocks quietly, wrapped in challenge and disguised as work. Only those who are alert, courageous, and willing to leap recognize it for what it truly is. And when you do see it, don't wait, don't overthink, don't try to calculate every possible outcome. Opportunities are not meant to be controlled, they're meant to be embraced. When you step into an opportunity, you're stepping into possibility. You're stepping into a version of yourself you haven't met yet. A version who is braver, wiser, stronger, not because they waited for the right moment, but because they acted in faith when the moment came. Remember, you're not entitled to a second chance just because you ignored the first. That's why you must treat the opportunities in front of you with urgency, with honor, and with boldness. Because hesitation is the enemy of growth, and time doesn't pause for your indecision. Opportunity doesn't knock forever. It waits for action, and then it walks away. Even the greatest journeys began with a single step. Often when people think about changing their life, achieving a dream, or transforming a situation, they become overwhelmed by the entire path ahead. They think of the 10,000 steps it might take, the challenges, the obstacles, the uncertainty, and they freeze. They become paralyzed by the distance between where they are and where they want to be. But the truth is, you don't need to climb the whole mountain today. You just need to take the first step. That first step might not seem grand. It may not be glamorous or impressive to others. In fact, it might even feel awkward or unsure, but it's the most powerful step you'll ever take because it breaks the inertia. It's the shift from thought into motion, from intention into action, and once you start moving, momentum begins to build. Just like a parked car takes the most energy to get rolling but becomes easier to steer once it's in motion, your life becomes easier to navigate once you've started moving. But that beginning step also requires trust. Trust that you don't need to have it all figured out. Trust that clarity comes through action. The road ahead will reveal itself as you walk, not before you walk. Waiting until you feel fully ready often becomes a trap because readiness is not a prerequisite for action. It's a result of it. You become ready by doing. You gain confidence by engaging. You grow wiser by experiencing. All of that begins with that first courageous move. Sometimes that first step looks like saying yes, sir, to an opportunity that scares you. Sometimes it looks like making a phone call, signing up for a class, writing the first sentence, or showing up even when you're unsure of yourself. It could be as simple as choosing to believe that change is possible for you. These moments may seem small, but they carry immense power. Every great success, Every breakthrough, every story of transformation starts with someone who chose to begin. And yes, the path won't be perfect. You'll stumble. You might even fall. But falling while moving forward is far better than standing still, wishing you had the courage to begin. Because the first step is not just about movement, it's a statement. It declares that you are no longer content with waiting, that you are no longer allowing fear to be in charge, and that you're ready to become an active participant in your own life. So don't focus on the staircase. Don't obsess over the outcome. Just ask yourself, what is the one step I can take today? Take it. Trust it. And let that one act of courage set the entire journey in motion. Life is not about counting days. It's about making the days count. Far too often we move through life on autopilot, waking up, going through our routines, checking off tasks and going to bed only to repeat the same cycle the next day. We look at the calendar and count how many days we've lived, how many deadlines we've met, how many hours we've worked. But those numbers mean little if we haven't poured any meaning into them. Living isn't just about existing. It's about engaging with life in a way that is intentional, purposeful, and soul-satisfying. When we treat life like a checklist, we lose sight of its depth. We start with depth. We start measuring time by quantity instead of quality. But the truth is, one day lived with presence, passion, and purpose is more valuable than 100 days passed in distraction. What makes a day meaningful isn't how busy you are, how many goals you tick off, or how much recognition you receive. It's how fully you show up for it. It's the love you give, the kindness you offer, the courage you choose, and the progress you make toward becoming who you were meant to be. Purpose doesn't always come wrapped in grand gestures or huge accomplishments. Sometimes it's hidden in the ordinary, in listening fully to someone who needs you, in choosing gratitude even when things are tough, in learning something new, or simply doing the best you can with what you have. Making the day count doesn't mean every moment has to be dramatic or life-changing. It means you don't waste your time being disconnected, numb, or passive. It means you are aware that today is a gift and that how you use it is your responsibility. And that awareness, it changes everything. It makes you more deliberate with your time, more present in your relationships, and more determined to leave an imprint, not through perfection, but through purpose. When you live like your time matters, you start doing the things that truly matter. You stop waiting for a someday and start creating significance today. The people who make an impact, who live deeply, who die without regret, those are the people who understand that meaning is created, not found. They don't chase after time, they fill it. They wake up each day with the mindset that this could be the day they make progress, inspire someone, change direction, or take one more step toward a life that feels true. So rather than wondering how many days you have left, focus on how deeply you can live the one you're in. Life is not a countdown, it's a build-up. Build something beautiful with the time you've been given. Don't just let time pass. Fill it, enrich it, make it count.